Lazy Dude 99. I am a Batman fan, and I'm a Canadian man. I do top 10 lists, tonight ketchup chips.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another Lazy Dude 99 video. So, as Green Lantern has been out for a little bit, there may be some new Green Lantern fans that are wondering, you know what, I actually like the movie. I want to see maybe where I can pick up some Green Lantern stuff, but I'm not really sure where to start. And so today I'm going to be reviewing Green Lantern No Fear. Now, this book is an excellent way to introduce new readers into the Green Lantern story, get the scope of Hal Jordan, what his character is like, how he reacts, and really get a feel for the character, what he stands for, what his values are, and a little bit of his past history. The book it goes into a few different things. The first part that it kind of goes into a little bit of Hal Jordan's past, how he felt about his father, and there's a good part to this story where it shows how important flying is to him. You really get a good grasp of that in this book. You go through the history of it starts with Hal's dad bringing him to the Air Force to fly with him, and he says, "You've never flown with me." And so the guy who he bribes to allow him to get a plane is pretty young at that point. And then it goes later on, and Hal is an adult, and he's with Carol Ferris. And he says the same thing, "You've never flown with me." And it shows their first kiss that night because of them flying around. And it's the same guard. Then it goes to now with Hal Jordan and Kyle Rayner. And they fly together. I don't know, I really like that of the story. By that time, of course, the guard is like an aging old man by that point. But, you know, it shows the thrill and the rush that Hal feels when he's in a jet. And also, there's a little thing of Hal Jordan getting the ring given to him by Abin Sur. But the main story in here is, there's two. There's two main stories here other than that one. The first one is involving the Manhunters, and Hal Jordan has to come back and fight them, and that's a really good. I'll just talk about the art quickly. So there are many different artists on this book, and you know it starts out with this simple style of art. You're like, oh well. I guess that kind of works, but like that, but a little more stylized. Then it gets a little bit more stylized, not by much, and you're like, oh, you know what, I could, it's good. Still, a little more stylized wouldn't hurt. And then it goes into what I think is the best art of this story. It's a little stylized, but not too much, because after that, we get the over-stylized. And it's really weird because the over-stylized part of the story is only like the last 2 issues, or maybe the last issue itself. And it's over-stylized. I'm like, whoa, too many. That doesn't look. I don't know. I don't like that. It's too weird for me. But the art overall, it's pretty darn good. So this story does a good job of Hal Jordan's past kind of catching up with his future. And it just shows how he's going to go back. Because this is the first thing right after Green Lantern Rebirth. So this is the first thing right after he's come back from the dead. So what does he do? Well, he gets back to work. You know, he goes back and works in the Air Force. And he continues his work as a Green Lantern. And The one thing that I wish that they could have kind of handled more is his death. Because they say many times, Hal, wow, I thought you were one of the people that died when Coast City went up. And he said, nope. And that's all he really says about it. You know, wasn't there a funeral or something for Hal Jordan? So I think there's more people that thought, more than people that just thought, oh, I thought you were dead. I think there'd be a few people that have a bigger reaction. Of course, like some people, like Carol Ferris, knows that he's a Green Lantern, so they're not surprised that much when he's alive again. But what I mean is, I just think, you know, a lot of people would be a little bit more curious. Like for Flash Rebirth, they said that Barry Allen was in the Witness Protection Program. That was his cover. Reliable cover, especially since he was a police forensics officer. This one, they just said, oh, I thought you were dead. And he's like, nope, been traveling around for a bit. Okay. So Hal, of course, is he's kind of struggling a little bit because Central City is, no, not Central City, Coast City, Hal Jordan's place, is kind of deserted. The government is rebuilding the city and for people to live there. The only thing is nobody kind of wants to go back there because they're afraid. So Coast City is pretty empty, and it remains that way until the Sinestro Corps. But I won't really mention what goes on there. So other villains that show up in here, Hector Hammond shows up in here, and he's, of course, as creepy and as odd as always. You have a villain known as the Shark, which I don't know much about. All I heard is from what they said here was that he was a shark that was over-evolutionized, and he's just going around and he doesn't really know what's going on. He goes around eating things. And Black Hand makes an appearance. I don't really like the look of Black Hand. Not in here, mostly because he kind of turns up in the stylized art, and the art when he's not even in the stylized, it looks a little too ugly for me. Like in Blackest Night, he looks dark and cool, but in here he's just like, oh, that's disgusting. I don't want to look at that. So for this book, it's really interesting how, I don't know, I just really like how they handle, of course, it's Jeff Johns, so of course I'm going to love how he handles Hal Jordan. And the encounters that he, encounters, are really good, and there's a lot of good full-page spreads in here. You know, sometimes too many full-page spreads can really take away from the story, but there's quite a few of them that are really good. You know, a couple of the ones of the Manhunters, and a couple of ones of Hal Jordan, and just a couple of these full-page shots are actually pretty good. I just really like how Hal Jordan is written here, because you show how he's reckless a bit, but just to the right amount of reckless that you want. There's a part in it where his ring is dying because the Manhunter had sucked out nearly all of his energy from his ring, and he has very little energy left, and he's flying a jet, and as the jet's crashing, he jumps off, and he's like, "In brightest day and blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. For those who worship evil's might, where my power?" Rips, and while he's doing the oath, he puts his ring into the Manhunter's face and says, "Green Lantern's light!" Rips his head off. That I thought was, oh, that's pretty cool. There's also some stuff that you're like, wow, that's kind of weird. Like there's these guys that are just driving their their Jeep down, these military guys, and they hit this thing that looks like an alien, like a let's just say a Steven Spielberg type alien, and they hit it, and as his last breath, he says, "I just went out for a cigarette." So you're like, wait, what? So, and there's a lot of other moments. Like there's Kilowog and Hal Jordan wrestling in a mud pit, which is pretty cool. There's not a lot more I can say about this, except of course I think the last bit of the art in this wasn't as good as the middle. I wish the middle artist, whoever it was, would stick on a little longer. But above all, I really like Green Lantern No Fear. It's a pretty, as I say, for new Green Lantern fans, if you're wondering, where do I jump on? I think this would be a really good starting point. I mean, where do you go after this? I don't know, because I jumped on it, the Sinestro Corps War. So, but this, you really get Hal Jordan's come back, and you really get to start, this is where you start anew, and this is where his journey, starts. This is where he started before the Sinestro Corps. This is where, before Jeff Johns wrote the Sinestro Corps, this is where he went with him, and, I really like what they did with Hal Jordan, and I really like what he did with him here. I guess that's all I really have to say, not much more. Just, this is a really good book, and if you were a Green Lantern fan, or interested in becoming a Green Lantern fan, this might be the book for you. So I'm going to give Green Lantern No Fear 7 out of 10. So, thanks for watching. Remember guys, I'm LaserDude99, and if I don't like it, it's not worth it. See you around.
Be sure to check out more of my other videos on my channel, and wait for more coming soon.